welcome to this first look exploring session looking at The Witch, a tragic comedy by Thomas Middleton, dated, it's a little wibbly-wobbly, somewhere between 1608 and 1616, probably closer to 1616. So it is a witchy play. There's going to be a witch in The Witch. That's not a spoiler. That's just a general designation of what it's going to be about, probably. To discover more about this play, which features the witch, in fact, we have this wonderful room of readers, and reading at Florida, Antonio, and Hecate is
Sarah Blake, actor, writer, and director living in Germany.
Reading Servant, Duke, and Stadlin today is...
Hello, I'm Lynn Freitas. I'm a college composition teacher. I live in the northwestern United States.
Reading Isabella and Abberzanes is...
Hello, Dan, actor based in Montpellier, France.
Other pronunciations of that is available. Reading similarly, Almachildes or Chaldes is...
Rachael, actor on the East Coast.
Reading Amoretta, Francisca, it's an A. That's Francesca, I don't know. Firestone as well is...
Briony Sparrow, confused in Lincolnshire.
Reading Sebastian, Old Woman and Boy is...
Hello, I'm Francis Cox. I'm an actor living in Amsterdam.
Reading Fernando, Governor, and Hoppo is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm happy to be here.
And reading Gaspero, Duchess, and Gentleman is...
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Amisu, and I'm an author based in Romford.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading stage directions and stepping in to enact anything else that might pop up along the way. We're going to start with Act 1, Scene 1, and enter Sebastian and Fernando.
My 3 years spent in war has now undone my peace forever.
Good, be patient, sir.
She is my wife by contrast before heaven and all the angels, sir.
I do believe you, but where's the remedy now? You see, she's gone. Another has possession.
There's the torment.
This day, being the first of your return, unluckily proves the first two of her fastening. Her uncle, sir, the governor of Ravenna, holding a good opinion of the bridegroom, as he's fair-spoken, sir, and wondrous mild.
There goes the devil in a sheepskin.
With all speed, clapped it up suddenly. I cannot think, sure, that the maid overloves him, though being married perhaps for her own credit, now she intends performance of an honest, duteous wife.
Sir, I've a world of business. Question nothing. You will but lose your labour. 'Tis not fit for any, hardly mine own secrecy, to know what I intend. I take my leave, sir. I find such strange employments in myself that, unless death pity me and lay me down, I shall not sleep these 7 years. That's the least, sir.
Exit Sebastian.
That sorrow's dangerous can bide no counsel. 'Tis like a wound past cure. Wrongs done to love strike the heart deeply. None can truly judge on it but the poor sensible sufferer whom it racks with unbelieved pains, which men in health that enjoy love not possibly can act, nay, not so much as think. In troth, I pity him. His sighs drink lifeblood in this time of feasting. A banquet towards too. Not yet hath riot played out her last scene. At such entertainment still forgetfulness obeys, and surfeit governs. Here's marriage sweetly honoured in gorged stomachs and overflowing cups.
Enter Gaspero and Servant.
Where is she, Sirrah?
Not far off.
Prithee, where? Go fetch her hither. I'll rid him away straight.
And we can infer the servant exits.
The Duke's now risen, sir.
I am a joyful man to hear it, sir. It seems he has drunk less, though I think he that has the least has certainly enough.
And exit Fernando.
I have observed this fellow. All the feast time he hath not pledged 1 cup, but looked most wickedly upon good Malaga, flies to the blackjack still, and sticks to small drink like a water rat.
And enter Florida.
Oh, here she comes. Alas, the poor whore weeps. 'Tis not for grace now, all the world must judge. It is for spleen and madness gainst this marriage. I do but think, but how she could beat the vicar now, scratch the man horribly that gave the woman worst of all, if she durst do it. Why, how now, mistress? This weeping needs not, for though my master marry for his reputation, he means to keep you too.
How, sir?
He doth indeed. He swore it to me last night. Are you so simple, and have been 5 years traded, as to think one woman would serve him? Fie, not an empress. Why, he'll be sick of the wife within 10 nights, or never trust my judgment.
Willie, think'st thou?
Will he?
I find thee still so comfortable. Beshrew my heart if I knew how to miss thee. They talk to gentlemen, perfumers, and such things. Give me the kindness of the master's man in my distress, say I.
'Tis your great love, forsooth. Please you withdraw yourself to yon private parlour. I'll send you venison, custard, parsnip pie, for banqueting stuff, as suckets, jellies, syrups. I will bring in myself.
I'll take 'em kindly, sir.
And exit Florida.
She's as your grand strumpet's compliment to a tittle. 'Tis a fair building, it had need. It has just at this time some 21 inmates, but half of them are young merchants. They'll depart shortly. They take but rooms for summer, and away they, when it grows foul weather. Marry, then come the termers, and commonly they're well booted for all seasons.
And enter Almachildes and Amoretta.
But peace no more, the guests are coming in.
And Gaspero withdraws.
The fates have blessed me. Have I met you privately?
Why, sir, why, Almachildes?
Not a kiss?
I'll call a louder face.
I'll stop your mouth.
Upon my love to reputation, I'll tell the Duchess once more.
'Tis the way to make her laugh a little.
She'll not think that you dare use a maid of honour thus.
Amsterdam swallow thee for a Puritan, and Geneva cast thee up again, like she that sunk at Charing Cross and rose again at Queen Hythe.
Aye, these are the holy fruits of the sweet vine, sir.
And she leaves him.
Sweet venery be with thee, and I at the tail of my wish. I am a little headstrong, and so are most of the company. I will to the witches. They say they have charms and tricks to make a wench fall backwards and lead a man herself to a country house some mile out of the town, like a fire drake. There be such horse unkind girls, and such bawdy witches, and all try conclusions.
And enter the Duke, the Duchess, the Lord Governor, Antonio, Isabella, and Francisca.
A banquet yet? Why, surely, my Lord Governor, Bacchus could never boast of a day till now to spread his power and make his glory known.
Sir, ye have done nobly, though in modesty you keep it from us. Know we understand so much all this day's cost. 'Tis your great love bestows in honour of the bride, your virtuous niece.
In love to goodness and your presence, madam, so understood 'tis rightly.
Now will I have a strange health after all these.
What's that, my lord?
A health in a strange cup, and it shall go round.
Your grace need not doubt that, sir, having seen so many pledged already. This fair company cannot shrink now for one, so then there.
It shall, for it ends here. Here's a full period.
And yes, the cup in question is a skull.
A skull, my lord?
Call it a soldier's cup, man. Fie, how you fright the women. I have sworn it shall go round, excepting only you, sir, for your late sickness, and the bride herself, whose health it is.
Marry, I thank heaven for that.
Our Duchess, I know, will pledge us, though the cup was once her father's head, which as a trophy we'll keep till death in memory of that conquest. He was the greatest foe our steel ever struck at, and he was bravely slain. Then took we thee into our bosom's love. Thou madest the peace for all thy country. Thou that beauty did. We're dearer than a father, are we not?
Yes, sir, by much.
And we shall find that straight.
An ill bride cup from marriage day. I do not like the fate on't.
Good, my lord, the Duchess looks pale. Let her not pledge you there.
Pale?
Sir, not I.
See how your lordship fails now? The rose not fresher, nor the sun at rising more comfortably pleasing.
Sir, to you, the lord of this day's honour.
All first moving from your grace, madam, and the duke's great favour. Sister, it must.
This is the worst fright that could come to a concealed great belly. I'm with child, and this will bring it out, or make me come some 7 weeks sooner than we maidens reckon.
Did ever cruel, barbarous act match this? Twice hath his surfeits brought my father's memory, thus spitefully and scornfully to mine eyes. And I'll endure it no more. 'Tis in my heart since. I'll be revenged, as far as death can lead me.
Am I the last man then? I may deserve to be the first one day.
Sir, it has gone round now.
The round, an excellent way to train up soldiers. Where's the bride and bridegroom?
At your happy service.
A boy, tonight at least. I charge you look to it, or I'll renounce you for industrious subjects.
Your grace speaks like a worthy and tried soldier.
And everyone exits apart from Gaspero, who's been there all the time.
And you'll do well, for one that ne'er tossed pike, sir.
And exit. Okay, first scene, not a lot to really talk about. It's quite quiet. Nothing going on here. So, why do I not get invited to weddings like this? I mean, this is such... there's so much backstory that seems to be going on here that is just going, you're making everyone drink out of a skull. You do this quite a lot. And it's the skull of your what? Hang on. So yeah, and that's after the sort of introductory gambit, dispatched with quite quickly of Sebastian going, well, my intended, it was all arranged. I went off to do some war stuff, and I didn't even get a Dear John letter or anything. I've just come back and she's getting married just a day earlier, and it will be a very different story. Thoughts on the room, Lynn?
Yeah, I mean, we know there's dirty work afoot. I mean, first of all, first thing, a man's basically fiance is marrying someone else. And then we find out the man she's marrying has had an ongoing relationship with basically a sex worker, who's very upset about her patron getting married. So neither one of these people in this marriage, you get the feeling, really wants this, that it's some kind of like political or social arrangement. And then the Duke, and if he's the bride's uncle, you get the feeling that he's sort of her, what's the expression? The in parentis loco, he's basically her surrogate father. He's probably arranged this, and he's drinking wine out of the skull of his father-in-law. I mean, the theme of a father gets displaced by a husband is a common theme in comedy, and how that's problematic and painful, and the father has to let go and allow his daughter to move on. That's something we see all the time. It's one of the tensions in comedy is the father doesn't want to let his daughter get married. But this is such a dark version of that.
Yeah, and we're getting these little asides, giving us more hints, and all these people have backstories and stuff going on that we've got to catch up on. Elizabeth, I think.
Yeah, I was just speaking to what Lynn was saying. There's a line where they said that she looked pale as she watched him drink from the skull. And I got a sense that he had brought the skull out for this specific purpose, to be like, oh, look at my conquest. I killed this man and I married his daughter. And I also like the idea that I think the Duchess wants to take revenge on him. So we've got that kind of plot thickening as well.
Yeah, I mean, the way the Duke talks about, the round's done, an excellent way to train up soldiers. I mean, it's like it's this. He's one of these all or nothing people who just are you man enough type person, and he's just going, yeah, because everyone's doing these little asides, giving us little glimpses. It's not hanging about. I mean, it's packed a lot into a relatively short period of time. There's a lot of nice economy in there. Any other thoughts? I mean, we're all reeling a bit, I think, from so much action. Elizabeth?
I thought there was a very strong range of characters. The stage was quite busy. I was quite shocked to find that Gaspero had been there the whole time, because I'm so sure he left, but he was apparently there just listening to everything that was going on. But I do like the range of characters and the different classes of the characters as well.
Yeah, So he withdraws, he doesn't exit, and that sense of how many people are here watching and listening, and what are they catching? It's potentially quite dynamic as a scene as well. Because of course everybody in theory, the action of this drinking of the skull, the logistics of drinking from skulls has been discussed. Had to do this last year. From the back. It's the only way to do it. It's. I presume they do something with the hot eye holes and stuff like that. It's all very complicated. Depends on how big the skull is. Anyway, Eric, then Briony.
I was just gonna say it's one hell of a beginning for a play, especially if you don't know. I mean, it's just titled The Witch, and then it's like I don't know, the sort of beginning of a horror film or something.
Absolutely. We go from what's a relatively, straightforward Sebastian. Oh, poor Sebastian. He's a bit sad. And he says, I'm going to do something. I'm not going to tell you what. And he goes off and Fernando gets to do. He's a bit sad. And then I say the wedding comes in and we start meeting people. We meet people before the wedding party come on. And we're just sort of drawn into it a bit. It's actually quite nicely structured. I quite like that. It doesn't just throw us straight into the wedding party, which it could do. Briony.
Yeah, I was going to say it's nicely arranged so that it's not a stationary start. You're not just standing around waiting for characters to be introduced to you, but it like you say, it doesn't throw you straight into the middle of it either. It's kind of a bit of a build-up and then straight into it, which is nice because it feels like you're hitting action and you've got to catch up to what's going on and who everybody is.
And it's not like we have to know all the detail of all these people. We just need to know their relationship at this stage, primarily to the Duke, as to how keen they are on his actions here. So I'm sure we're going to get more detail about some of these characters. Have only been roughly sketched in the audience's mind. Francis, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I was struck by how short and economical that first scene was. We were introduced to Sebastian. We were given these few scraps of information. He's intended is marrying someone else. He laments a bit, and then he's off. This playwright doesn't muck about. He just makes a plot point and then moves on to the next one.
Yeah, it gives us enough weight on that plot point to make us think, okay, Sebastian's going to what's going on with him, and obviously we don't go too much into Isabella. Isabella is there, but we haven't necessarily gone into too much weight there, that side of things yet. So anyway, we go from that level of horror show madness to a scene that's going to be presumably a lot more straightforward and rational. So Act 1, Scene 2, enter Hecate and other witches with properties and habits fitting.
Titty and Tiffin! Sucking and Pigeon! Leod and Robin! White spirits, black spirits, grey spirits, red spirits, devil toad, devil ram, devil cat, and devil dam. Why, Hoppo! And Stadlin! Helwain and Puckle!
Air within, sweating at the vessel.
Boil it well.
It gallops now.
Are the flames blue enough? Or shall I use a little seething more?
The nips of fairies upon maids' white hips are not more perfect azure.
Tend it carefully. Send Stadlin to me with a brazen dish, that I may fall to work upon these serpents and squeeze them ready for the second hour. Why? When?
Enter Stadlin with a dish.
Here's Stadlin with the dish.
Here, take this unbaptized brat. Boil it well, preserve the fat you know 'tis precious to transfer our anointed flesh into the air in moonlight nights, so steeple tops, mountains and pine trees that like pricks or stops seem to our height. High towers and roofs of princes like wrinkles in the earth. Whole provinces appear to our sight, then even leak a russet mole upon some lady's cheek. When 100 leagues in air we feast and sing, dance, kiss and call, use everything. What young man can we wish to pleasure us, but we enjoy him in an incubus? Thou know'st it, Stadlin.
Usually that's done.
Last night thou gottest the major of Welpy's son. I knew him by his black cloak lined with yellow. I think thou spoiled the youth. He's but 17. Thou have him the next mounting. Away, in, go feed the vessel for the second hour.
Where be the magic herbs?
They're down his throat, his mouth crammed full, his ears and nostrils stuffed. I thrust in Lysilinum lately, Aconitum, Frondes populaeus, and soot. You may see that he looks so black in the mouth. Then Siam Macorum vulgare too, Pentaphilon, the blood of a flittermouse, Salanum somnificum et oleum.
Then there's all, Hecate.
Is the heart of wax stuck full of magic needles?
'Tis done, Hecate.
And is the farmer's picture and his wife's laid down to the fire yet?
They're a roasting both, too.
Good.
And exit Stadlin.
Then their marrows are a-melting subtly, and 3 months' sickness sucks up life in 'em. They denied me often flour, balm and milk, goose grease and tar, when I ne'er hurt their churnings, their brewlocks, nor their batches, nor forspoke any of their breedings. Now I'll be meat with 'em. 7 of their young pigs I have bewitched already of their last litter. 9 ducklings, 13 goslings, and a hog fell lame last Sunday after evensong too. And mark how their sheep prosper, or what sup each milk-keen gives to the pail. I'll send those snakes, shall milk 'em all beforehand. The juice-skirted dairy wenches shall stroke dry dugs for this, and go home cursing. I'll mar their syllabubs and frothy feastings under cows' bellies with the parish youths. Where's Firestone? Our son Firestone!
Enter Firestone.
Here I am, mother.
Take in this brazen dish full of deerware. Thou shalt have all when I die, and that will be even just at 12 o'clock at night, come 3 year.
And may you not have 1 o'clock into the dozen, mother.
No.
Your spirits are then more unconscionable than bakers. You'll have lived then, mother, 60 year to the 100, and methinks after 60 years the devil might give you a cast, for he's a fruiteria too, and has been from the beginning. The first apple that e'er was eaten came through his fingers. The costermongers then I hold to be the ancientest trade, and though some would have the tailor pricked down before him.
Go, and take heed you shed not by the way. The hour must have her portion. 'Tis dear syrup. Each charmed drop is able to confound a family consisting of 19 or 1 in 20 feeders.
Marry, here's stuff indeed. Dear syrup call you it? A little thing would make me give you a dram on it in a posset and cut you 3 years shorter.
Talk now about some villainy.
Not I, forsooth. Truly, the devil's in her, I think. How one villain smells out another straight. There's no knavery, but it is nosed like a dog, and can smell out a dog's meaning. Mother, I pray give me leave to ramble abroad tonight with the nightmare, for I have a great mind to overlay a fat person's daughter.
And who shall lie with me, then?
The great cat. For one night, mother, 'tis but a night. Make shift with him for once.
You're a kind son. But 'tis the nature of you all, I see that. You had rather hunt after strange women still than lie with your own mothers. Get thee gone. Sweat thy 6 ounces out about the vessel, and thou shalt play at midnight. The nightmare shall call thee when it walks.
Thanks, most sweet mother.
And exit Firestone. Enter Sebastian.
Urchins, elves, hags, satyrs, pans, fauns, silens, kicked with the candlestick, tritons, centaurs, dwarves, imps, the spawn, the mare, the man in the oak, the hellwain, the fire drake, the puckle, Abberzanes.
With what unwillingness and hate I entered this damned place. But such extremes of wrong in love fight against religious knowledge, that were I led by this disease to deaths, as numberless as creatures that must die, I would not shun the way. I know what 'tis to pity madmen now, their wretched things that ever were created. If they be of woman's making and have faithless vows, I fear they're now a kissing. What's o'clock? 'Tis now but supper time, but night will come, and all new married couples must make short suppers. Whate'er thou art, I have no spare time to fear thee. My horrors are so strong and great already that thou seemst nothing. Up and laze not. Hadst thou my business, thou couldst ne'er sit so. 'Twould firk thee into air 1,000 mile beyond thy ointments. I would I were read so much in thy black power as mine own griefs. I'm in great need of help. Wilt give me any?
Thy boldness takes me bravely. We are all sworn to sweat for such a spirit. See, I regard thee. I rise and bid thee welcome. What's thy wish now?
Oh, my heart swells with it. I must take breath first.
Is't to confound some enemy on the seas. It may be done tonight. Stadlin's within. She raises all your sudden ruinous storms that shipwreck barks and tears up growing oaks, flies over houses and takes Anno Domini out of the rich man's chimney. A sweet place for it. He would be hanged ere he would set his own years there. They must be chambered in a £5 picture, a green silk curtain drawn before the eyes on it. His rotten deceased years. Or dost thou envy the fat prosperity of any neighbour? I'll call forth Hoppo, and her incantation can straight destroy the young of all his cattle. Blast vineyards, orchards, meadows, or in one night transport his dung, hay, corn by reeks whole stacks into thine own ground.
This would come most richly now to many a country grazier. But my envy lies not so low as cattle, corn, or vines. 'Twill trouble your best powers to give me ease.
Is it to starve up generation? To strike a barrenness in man or woman?
Huh?
Huh? Did you feel me there? I knew your grief.
Can there be such things done?
Are these the skins of serpents, these of snakes?
I see they are.
So sure into what house these are conveyed, knit with these charmed and retentive knots, neither the man begets, nor woman breeds, no, nor performs the least desires of wedlock, being then a mutual duty. I could give thee Circuncinetta, Adin Candida, Archimedon, Marmaritin, Calilicia, which I could sort to villainous barren ends, but this leads the same way. More I could instance as the same needles thrust into their pillows that sews and socks up dead men in their sheets. A privy gristle of a man that hangs after sunset. Good, excellent, it all's there, sir.
You could not do a man that special kindness and part him utterly now. Could you do that?
No, time must do it. We cannot disjoin wedlock, 'tis of heaven's fastening. Well may me raise jars, jealousies, strifes, and heart-burning disagreements like a thick scurf o'er life, as did our master upon that patient miracle. But the work itself our power cannot disjoint.
I depart happy in what I have then, being constrained to this, and grant you greater powers that dispose men, that I may never need this hag again.
Exit Sebastian.
I know he loves me not, nor there's no hope on't. 'Tis for the love of mischief I do this, and that we're sworn to, the first oath we take.
And enter Firestone.
Oh, mother, mother,
What the news with thee now?
there's the bravest young gentleman within, and the fineliest drunk. I thought he would have fallen into the vessel. He stumbled at a pipkin of child's grease, reeled 'gainst Stadlin, overthrew her, and in the tumbling cast struck up old Puckle's heels with her clothes over her ears.
Oi day.
I was fain to throw the cat upon her to save her honesty, and all little enough. I cried out, I pray be covered. See where he comes now, mother.
Enter Almachildes.
Call you these witches? They be tumblers, methinks, very flat tumblers.
'Tis Almachildes. Fresh blood stirs in me. The man that I have lusted to enjoy. I have had him thrice in incubus already.
Is your name Goody Hag?
'Tis anything. Call me the horridest and unhallowedst things that life and nature trembles at. For thee I'll be the same. Thou comest for a love charm now.
Why, thou'rt a witch, I think.
Thou shalt have a choice of 20, wet or dry.
Nay, let's have dry ones.
If thou wilt use it by way of a cup and potion, I'll give thee a remora, shall bewitch her straight.
A remora, what's that?
A little suckstone. Some call it a sea lamprey. A small fish.
And must be buttered.
The bones of a green frog, too. Wondrous precious. The flesh consumed by pismires.
Pismires? Give me a chamber pot.
You shall see him go nigh to be so unmannerly. He'll make water before my mother anon.
And now you talk of frogs. I have somewhat here. I come not empty-pocketed from a banquet. I learned that of my haberdasher's wife. Look, goody witch, there's a toad in marchpane for you.
And gives her the marchpane.
Oh, sir, you have fitted me.
And here's a spawn or two of the same paddock brood, too, for your son.
And gives him some marchpane.
I thank your worship, sir. How comes your handkerchief so sweetly thus bewrayed? Sure, 'tis wet sucket, sir.
'Tis nothing but the syrup the toad spit. Take all, I prithee.
That was kindly done, sir. And you shall sup with me tonight for this.
How? Sup with thee? Dost think I'll eat fried rats and pickled spiders?
No. I can command, sir, the best meat in the whole province for my friends, and reverently served in, too.
How?
In good fashion.
Let me but see that, and I'll sup with you.
She conjures and enter a cat playing on a fiddle and spirits with meat.
The cat and fiddle? An excellent ordinary. You had a devil once in a fox skin.
Have him still. Come, walk with me, sir.
Exit everyone except for Firestone.
How apt and ready is a drunkard now to reel to the devil. Well, I'll even in and see how he eats, and I'll be hanged if I be not the fatter of the twain with laughing at him.
And exit Firestone ends scene, so that's a perfectly normal family. Getting on with perfectly normal things. I mean, what's the world coming to when a son doesn't want to sleep with his mother, and she has to just sleep with an animal instead? I mean, it's a terrible world, isn't it? It's just what are the young generation coming to? Yeah. Oh, so many things. Who wants to leap in first? I'll go to Lynn first. You're muted at present.
Okay, so a question first. Is Almachildes the groom? Is he the one that married Sebastian's girl?
No, that was Antonio, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, Antonio married. This is just some bloke.
Some random...
Yeah,
binge drinker.
Yeah, the manuscript I think actually says is a fantastical gentleman.
Okay. But yeah, the whole you were gonna lie with me tonight, but all right, go play around, and that's one thing. But like earlier in their potion making sequence, take this unbaptized brat and okay. Yeah, they have a baby. We don't know whether it's alive or not.
I'm gonna go with not. I'm gonna go with not here, and if it is, not for long.
Not for long, right? So it's just like we're just like piling on the shocking details one upon another. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you feel that it's done for luck. You know, the moment he comes in, it comes in with a dish, and you go, here you go, just boil this dead baby for me, will you? I mean, it's some quite extreme recipe time here. Francis?
It seems to me that the writer is presenting a very stereotypical view of a witch at the time. They have unnatural relations with their children. They cook dead babies as part of their spells. They're kind of feeding the audience's prejudices against witches, who, as I understand it, were actually quite benign.
I think we can go, this isn't a documentary. I think that's, whereas we have read texts where, there is some connection with reality of actually real cases. I don't think this play is doing that, yes. Briony?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so that compared to last week's play, this one is definitely not trying to live in reality here, which is nice, because sometimes, if it's got witch in the title, it's nice to have some dead babies and pickled spiders and all that. That's what we expect.
And Cat's playing the violin.
Exactly.
Just playing the fiddle.
I'm just waiting for the dish and the spoon to run away and sorted.
We're not far off it, are we? Rachael and then Eric.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we read The Witch of Edmonton last week, and the portrayal of witches, I felt that some parts were meant to be, more not sensual or sexualized or something like that, playing with that, at least in the language, if not the imagery. This one I feel is just going for the gross out, like the meat and the blood and the, you know, smells of things, the way that things would smell, like if they had you know, sulfur going in the theater at the time, burning, because there's just so much that you know, could smell of these things.
You know, we've got the Hecate is doing, you know, a recipe, a complicated recipe at the beginning, but then we also get Hecate as salesperson, making their pitch. You know, what do you want to buy? Well, we can do this for you. We can do this. What is it you want? And we get a different kind of Mark coming in later on, who Hecate has had him thrice in incubus already. So that's not disturbing at all. Eric.
Yeah, it's going for the gore factor very hard, like that. You know, we thought gore was like sort of that classical, the Seneca, the Estes thing of like the sizzling liver on the spit and stuff, and it's like, yeah, this is like the whole other level.
Well, this is actually enacting it. I mean, this is calling for props and things and physical things that you can actually play with. And it's the question of, you know, is this asking for laughs? Is this asking for, you know, or is this supposed to be horrific? It feels quite comic to me, but maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe we're just getting it wrong. I'll go to Sarah, then Elizabeth.
I don't see how it couldn't be comic. I mean, just because of the way that, you know, in between all the really quite like distressingly horrible things, she throws in all these little asides, and, you know, she's clearly eyeing up what's his name, and, you know, it's I think it's meant to be comic, but I think it can probably be both. It's like it's funny, but it's also just so horrible. There's that thing of like, oh, it's funny, but I need to hide behind my cushion. Oh no. So I think it's just, yeah, I think it could probably be a bit of both.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, I totally agree with Sarah and Eric. I think I was just thinking about the atmosphere, how it changes from the first scene to the second one, and how it becomes so much darker. And I feel like I recently went to see Candyman, the new one, and it reminded me of that a bit, because it was so gory that it became a little bit funny. And I think it's very much on the edge of like what's horrifying and what's humorous, which makes it a bit darker, I think.
Francis.
Yeah, I was just thinking it might be fun just to see how far you could go with this as a director, and you know, and see if you could actually have members of the audience fainting in the aisles because you've used such realistic props.
Well, yeah. I mean, I want to know what the cat looks like, if nothing else. And what, you know, magic herbs, all sorts of things. Sarah.
It's also playing really nicely with that trope. I don't even know if it was a trope then, maybe it wasn't, but like that thing of like, you know, you've got the civilized world where there are all kinds of things going on underneath. There are all these asides. Oh, I'm pregnant, you know, with child, and my love is marrying somebody else, even though she was sworn to me, and blah blah blah. So there's this kind of there's the kind of skullduggery that goes on in the civilized world, like the sort of dark mutterings that go on under that surface veneer, and then contrasted with that, you actually have the real dark mutterings, the kind of the genuinely, authentically dark stuff that then goes on a layer beneath that, and even, you know, the most kind of you know, the darkest things you hear around the wedding table are as nothing in comparison to what goes on, you know, in the cave down the road kind of thing, unbeknownst to the wedding guests. So there's just that. It's a really nice instance of that sort of contrast.
Right. Well, any more for any more? Otherwise, we're going to dive into Act 2 to see if there's. These are big, chunky scenes. We've only done 2 scenes, but we're packing a lot of stuff in, and we've got characters explicitly coming from the first scene into this one, so we're getting a bit more sense of where things might be going. People are buying charms. That never goes wrong, ever. So yeah. We'll see what happens as we go into Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Antonio, who we haven't spent that much time chatting to, and Gaspero, who's sort of been about quite a bit in the background. Let's see what happens here.
Good sir, whence springs this sadness? Trust me, sir, you look not like a man was married yesterday. There could come no ill tidings since last night to cause that discontent. I was wont to know all before you had a wife, sir. You never found me without those parts of manhood, trust and secrecy.
I will not tell thee this.
Not your true servant, sir.
True? You'll all flout according to your talent. The best a man can keep of you. And a hell 'tis for masters to pay wages to be laughed at. Give order that 2 cocks be boiled to jelly.
How? 2 cocks boiled to jelly?
Fetch 1/2 ounce of pearl.
And exit Antonio.
This is a cullis for a consumption, and I hope one night has not brought you to need the cook already, and some part of the goldsmith? What, 2 trades in 24 hours, and less time? Pray heaven the surgeon and the apothecary keep out, and then 'tis well. You had better fortune, as far as I see, with your strumpet sojourner. Your little 4 nobles a week. I ne'er knew you eat 1 panada all the time ye have kept her. And is it in one night now come up 2 cock broth? I wonder at the alteration strangely.
Enter Francisca.
Good morrow, Gasper.
Your hearty wishes, mistress, and your sweet dreams come upon you.
What's that, sir?
In a good husband, that's my real meaning.
Saw you my brother lately?
Yes.
I met him now, as sad methought as grief could make a man. Know you the cause?
Not I. I know nothing but 1/2 ounce of pearl and kitchen business, which I will see performed with all fidelity. I'll break my trust in nothing, not in porridge I.
And exit Gaspero.
I have the hardest fortune, I think, of 100 gentlewomen. Some can make merry with a friend 7 year, and nothing seen, as perfect a maid still to the world's knowledge as she came from rocking. But 'twas my luck, at the first hour forsooth, to prove too fruitful. Sure, I'm near my time. I'm yet but a young scholar. I may fail in my account, but certainly I do not. These bastards come upon poor venturing gentlewomen 10 to 1 faster than your legitimate children. If I had been married, I'll be hanged if I'd been with child so soon now. When they are once husbands, they'll be whipped ere they take such pains as a friend will do, to come by water to the back door at midnight, there stay perhaps an hour in all weathers, with a pair of reeking watermen, laden with bottles of wine, chewits, and currant custards. I may curse those egg pies. They are meat that helped forward too fast. This hath been usual with me, night by night. Honesty, forgive me, when my brother hath been dreaming of no such junkets, yet he hath fared the better for my sake, though he little think for what, nor must he ever. My friend promised me to provide safely for me and devise a means to save my credit here in the house. My brother sure would kill me if he knew it, and powder up my friend and all his kindred for an East Indian voyage.
Enter Isabella.
Alone, sister?
No, there's another with me, though you see it not. Morrow, sweet sister, how have you slept tonight?
More than I thought I should. I have had a good rest.
I'm glad to hear it.
Sister, Methinks you are too long alone and lose much good time, sociable and honest. I am for the married life, I must praise that now.
I cannot blame you, sister, to commend it. You have happened well, no doubt, on a kind husband, and that's not every woman's fortune, sister. You know, if he were any but my brother, my praises should not leave him yet so soon.
I must acknowledge, sister, that my life is happily blessed with him. He is no gamester that ever I could find or hear of yet, nor midnight surfeiter. He does intend to leave tobacco, too.
Why, here's a husband.
He so did offend me, and swore freely he'll ne'er take pleasure in a toy again that should displease me. Some knights' wives in town will have great hope upon his reformation, to bring their husbands' breaths of the old fashion, and make 'em kiss like Christians, not like pagans.
I promise you, sister, 'twill be a worthy work to put down all these pipers. 'Tis a great pity there should not be a statute against them, as against all fiddlers.
These good offices, if you had a husband, you might exercise for the good of the commonwealth and do much profit. Besides, it is a comfort to a woman to have children, sister. A great blessing, certainly.
They will come fast enough.
Not so fast neither, as they're still welcome to an honest woman.
How near she comes to me. I protest she grates my very skin.
Were I conceived with child, beshrew my heart, I should be so proud on't.
That's natural. Pride is a kind of swelling. And yet I've small cause to be proud of mine.
You are no good companion for a wife. Get you a husband, prithee, sister, do. I may ask your counsel now and then to amend your discourse much. You maids know nothing.
No, we are fools, but commonly we prove quicker mothers than you that have husbands. I'm sure I shall else. I may speak for one.
Enter Antonio.
On her. I'll pass by and make as though I see her not.
Why, sir, pray your opinion. By the way, with leave, sir, I'm counselling your sister here to marry.
To marry? Soft, the priest is not at leisure yet. Some 5 years hence. Would you fain marry, sister?
I have no such hunger to it, sir. For I think I've a good bit that may well stay my stomach, as well as any that broke fast a sinner.
Though she seem tall of growth, she's short in years, of some that seem much lower. How old, sister? Not 17, for a yard of law.
Not yet, sir.
I told you so.
I would he'd laid a wager of old shirts, rather. I shall have more need of them shortly, and yet a yard of lawn will serve for a christening cloth. I have a use for everything as my case stands.
I care not if I try my voice this morning, but I've got a cold, sir, by your means.
I'll strive to mean that fault.
I thank you, sir.
And there's a song.
In a maiden time professed, then we say that life is best. Tasting once the married life, then we only praise the wife. There's but one state more to try, which makes woman laugh or cry. Widow of these three, the middle's the best, and that give me.
There's thy reward.
I will not grumble, sir, like some musician. If more come, 'tis welcome.
Such tricks have made me do all that I have done. Your kissing married folks spoil all the maids that ever live in the house with them.
And enter Abberzanes. There's also some servants. They're going to be carrying all these luggage and stuff.
Oh, here he comes with his bags and bottles. He was born to lead poor Waterman and I.
Oh, fellows, into order. Let the big meats be sorted by themselves.
Why, sir.
Look, the canary bottles be well stocked. The 3 of claret shall be drunk by dinner.
And exit Abberzanes' servants.
My good sir, you are too plenteous of these courtesies. Indeed you are. Forbear 'em, I beseech ye. I know no merit in me but poor love, and a true friend's well-wishing, that can cause this kindness in excess. In the state that I am, I shall go near to kick this fellow shortly, and send him downstairs with his bag and baggage. Why comes he now I'm married? There's the point. I pray, forbear these things.
Alas, you know, sir, these idle toys which you call courtesies, they cost me nothing but my servant's travail. One office must be kind, sir, to another. You know the fashion. What, a gentlewoman your sister said, methinks?
I know no cause she has.
Nor shall, by my good will.
And she takes Abberzanes aside.
What do you mean, sir? Shall I stay here to shame myself and you? The time may be tonight for aught you know.
Peace, as means wrought, I tell thee.
Aye, sir, when?
At which point enter Sebastian, who's currently disguised and a gentleman.
How now? What's he?
Oh, this is the man, sir, I entertained this morning for my service. Please you to give your liking.
Yes, he's welcome. I like him not amiss. Thou would speak business, was thou not?
Yes, may it please you, sir. There is a gentleman from the northern parts hath brought a letter, as it seems, in haste.
From whom?
Your bonny lady mother, sir.
You're kindly welcome, sir. How doth she?
I left her hill veray, well, sir.
I pray send your sister down all speed to me. I hope it will prove much for her good in the way of her preferment. Fail me not, I desire you, son, nor let any excuse of hers withhold her. I have sent ready furnished horse and man for her.
Now, have I thought upon you?
Peace, good sir. You're worthy of a kindness another time.
Her will shall be obeyed. Sister, prepare yourself. You must down with all speed.
I know. Down I must, and good speed send me.
'Tis our mother's pleasure.
Good sir, right back again and certify her I'm at my heart's wish here. I'm with my friends, and can be but well, say.
You shall pardon me, sister. I hold it no wise part to contradict her, nor would I counsel you to it.
'Tis so uncouth, living in the country now I'm used to the city, that I shall ne'er endure it.
Perhaps, forsooth, 'tis not her meaning you shall live there long. I do not think but after a month or so you'll be sent up again. That's my conceit. However, let her have her will.
Ay, good sir. Great reason 'tis she should.
I am sorry, sister. 'Tis our hard fortune thus to part so soon.
The sorrow will be mine.
Please you walk in, sir. We'll have one health unto these northern parts, though I be sick at heart.
Aye, sir, a deep one.
At which point exit Antonio, Isabella, gentleman, etc.
Which you shall pledge to.
You shall pardon me. I have pledged one too deep already, sir.
Peace. Peace. All's provided for. Thy wine's laid in sugar and spice. The place not 10 mile hence. What cause have maids now to complain of men when a farmhouse can make all whole again?
And exit Abberzanes and Francisca.
It takes, has no content, how well she bears it yet. Hardly myself can find so much from her that am acquainted with the cold disease. Oh, honesty's a rare wealth in a woman. It knows no want, at least will express none. Not in a look, yet I am not thoroughly happy. I'm not throughly happy. His ill does me no good. Well, it may keep me from open rage and madness for a time, but I feel heart's grief in the same place still. What makes the greatest torment amongst lost souls? 'Tis not so much the horror of their pains, though they be infinite, as the loss of joys. It is that deprivation is the mother of all the groans in hell, And here on earth, of all the red sighs in the hearts of lovers, still she's not mine that can be no man's else, till I be nothing, if religion have the same strength for me as it has for others. Holy vows witness that our souls were married.
Enter Gaspero and the Lord Governor and various other people.
Where are you, sir? Come, pray, give your attendance. Here's my Lord Governor come.
Where's our new kindred? Not stirring yet, I think.
Yes, my good lord. Please, you walk near.
Come, gentlemen, we'll enter.
I had done it upon a breach. This a lesser venture.
And they exit. Once again, we've got a lot of complicated stuff going on here. So just to unpack, Francisca is, confirmed details on the pregnancy there. Is a bit paranoid that everybody knows that what's going on, and Abberzanes, who seems to be the father, turns up and says, "It's fine. I've got a farmhouse all arranged for you to go to for the baby to be had." I think that's what he's sort of hinting at there. So he's got a plan. Whatever we think of him personally, he's got a plan. Sebastian's turned up in disguise to see how his, in theory, wife, but not really, is faring. And he's not really doing anything yet, but he's sort of positioning himself. Antonio, having just got married, doesn't seem to be performing. He doesn't seem to be doing what is perhaps necessary. So, which creates a whole series of questions about this conversation with Isabella and Francisca here. When talking about, you should get married and have things, and I'm thinking, well, how much has Isabella actually? Is Isabella sort of putting on a front here herself about what happened the night before, etc. So there's all sorts of complex things going on in this scene, which are to do with how people are presenting themselves to others. I'll go to Sarah, then Eric, then Rachael.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused by this because I assumed the reason why Antonio was like, I'm just going to pretend I haven't seen her, was because he was embarrassed because he'd kind of let himself down on their wedding night. But then if that's the case, yeah, I was thinking, well, Isabella doesn't strike me as the lying type. Maybe she is. Is it just that she's so innocent that she doesn't realise? And all that stuff about, yes, he's giving up this for me and he's giving up that for me. She just doesn't realise that he's actually, not quite fulfilled his duties in that respect. Or I could not work what was going. I couldn't work out what was going on there. And then the other thing that confused me as well was when Isabella said that when Sebastian arrived in disguise, and she said to Antonio, here's the chap I told you about, who I was talking to earlier. So it's like, does she know it's him in disguise? Because we didn't see that scene.
I don't think so. I think it's just that the stuff's happened this morning.
Okay.
I think that's the implication. I could be wrong on that front, but I think that's where we are.
Okay.
Eric.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a very weird scene generally, and it's a very long scene compared to the previous two that were very snappy kind of. But it strikes me that Sebastian is the one who's kind of slowing down the action in case you get too lost. Although it still keeps sort of, because he's got these long, well, not long, but he's got speeches and stuff. Though they do seem kind of fairly distributed thus far. And yeah, also I was like, okay, so Francisca's pregnant and they know, they don't know. It feels a bit like sort of couples trying to convince their friend / relative to get married or pair up with someone just because they're single. Kind of, it's like, we're so happy, you might as well be happy with someone if you just find the one. A bit, I don't know, yeah.
It does seem that whole sequence is performative. That Isabella is performing, and that's making Francisca's paranoia play. I don't think Isabella knows anything. I'd say that it's sisters sort of trying to confuse the other, or play a thing to each other. Rachael, then Elizabeth, then Francis.
Relationship question. Is Sebastian interested in Isabella or in Francisca, and is Antonio, is he the one that was dating Florida at the beginning of this?
So Sebastian is in theory, in his mind at least, technically sort of married to Isabella, because they were vowed to each other. And as to Antonio's previous relation, I'm not so sure who that was with. Someone may be able to tell me that.
Yeah.
Anyone want to leap in on that one?
Yeah.
Lynn, then Sarah?
Yes, as you say, Sebastian doesn't have any interest in Francisca, that he is in love with Isabella, considers himself married to her. He's gone to the witch for a spell, and I think we're supposed to conclude that the spell has caused Antonio, Isabella's husband, to be unable to consummate the marriage. And Antonio had kept Florida as his mistress before he got legitimately married. And Gaspero says something about, he guesses when it's like, I want to eat 2 boiled cocks, and evidently that's a potency recipe. So Gaspero guesses at what the problem is, and he's like, that's weird because he never had a problem before with his his mistress. So that's weird that he has a problem with that now. So yeah, Florida was with Antonio, and Sebastian and Isabella were a couple.
So it's nicely messed up. Elizabeth, then Francis.
Yeah, I was going to just ask, first of all, in the previous scene, did somebody use a chamber pot on stage in front of the whole audience? Because someone says, I remember one of the characters says, pass me a chamber pot. And I was thinking, what's he going to do with that? Anyway, there's that. And then the other thing I had was the question about this broth. This boiled down 2 chickens to make a reduction into jelly. And then the concept that I think Sebastian might have consumption, that is a remedy for consumption. Is that tuberculosis, or is that something else?
I think in this case it's referring to impotence.
It's impotency.
I think that. As to the chamber pot, I think what was happening there was a really, really bad pun gag. I don't think the chamber pot was literal. So they were talking about various ingredients or things that you can have, and it was talking about piss mires, which is a thing apparently. So he goes, piss mires, get me a chamber pot, budum ching. So I think that was the gag. But maybe I missed it. Maybe there were other things. Francis, then Briony.
A few things. I thought the reference to boiling the 3 cocks kind of dovetailed nicely with the cooking of the baby. It was a kind of interesting echo there. And I liked the scene between Isabella and Francisca. And I was wondering, Isabella kind of preening herself a bit. I'm a newly married woman and you aren't. Because because Isabella kept going on about the difference between being married and not being married, and how being a wife is better than being a widow, and something else. I can't remember what it was in the song. So yeah, I mean, you could certainly play that scene that way. And the third thing, my third comment on that scene is I kept wondering, who is the father of Francisca's baby?
Well, it seems to be Abberzanes.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Because they have their asides, and he does basically say, we've got a farmhouse laid out for you for the actual delivery.
Yeah.
That's what I inferred he meant by that.
Yeah, but I thought that too. But then I was wondering, would she be carrying on with this guy?
Yeah. No accounting for taste.
Yeah.
Briony, then Lynn, then I will need to move on.
Mine's super quick. I was just going to interject because I know this from my pub quiz days that Pismire is an ant.
Excellent. Saved me looking for the footnote. Lynn.
I think it might be a stinging ant too, from the use of the Pismire in a different context. What was I gonna? Oh, it's lost. Oh, Isabella. Like as Sarah was wondering, it's kind of hard to read her. Like, what is going on with her, and what's her subtext, and what's going on with her psychologically. But I think what's going on with her interchange with Francisca is that she's married. She's in this arranged marriage. She's married a man that we're pretty sure she doesn't love. And so she feels, but it's kind of politically motivated. Her uncle, the Duke, wanted this match. So she's working really hard to pretend that she's happy about it. Oh, I have a wonderful husband. I couldn't ask for a better husband. He's even going to give up smoking for me. Being married is the best. I'd rather be a wife than a maid or a widow. But I think she's working really hard to put on a brave front because that she needs to. She feels obligated to pretend this marriage suits her when it doesn't. So she's maybe trying a little too hard.
Yeah. And yeah, we had in that scene really interesting, lengthy soliloquy from Francisca, and there's a lot I think we could dive into. Sadly, we don't have time, but we're going to go to Act 2, Scene 2, where, whether or not he deserves it, Almachildes gets a long speech of his own.
What a mad toy took me to sup with witches, pie of all drunken humors. By this hand I could bear myself when I think on't, and the rascals made me good cheer too, and to my understanding then ate some of every dish, and spoiled the rest. But coming to my lodging, I remember, I was as hungry as a tired footpost. What's this?
And he takes a ribbon from his pocket.
Oh, 'tis the charm her hagship gave me. For my Duchess obstinate woman, wound about a 3-penny silk ribbon of 3 colors. Necte, tribus nodis ternos amoretta colores. Amoretta, why, that's her name indeed. Necte Amoretta. Again, 2 bouts. Node et veneris dict vincula necte. Nay, if veneris be one, I'm sure there's no dead fish in't. If I should undertake to construe this now, I should make a fine piece of work of it, for few young gallants are given to good construction of anything, hardly of their best friends' wives, sisters or nieces. Let me see what I can do now. Necte tribus nodis, Nick of the tribe of Noddies, ternos colores, that makes turned colors, nodo et veneris goes to his venery like a noddy, dict vincula with dict the vinter's boy. Here were a sweet charm now if this were the meaning on't, and very likely to overcome an honorable gentlewoman. The whoreson old hellcat would have given me the brain of a cat once in my hanker. I bade her make sauce with a vengeance, and a little bone in the nethermost part of a wolf's tail. I bade her pick her teeth with a pestilence. Nay, this is somewhat cleanly yet and handsome. A colored ribbon, a fine, gentle charm. A man may gift his sister, his brother's wife, ordinarily.
And enter Amoretta.
See, here she comes, luckily.
Blessed powers, what secret sin have I committed that still you send this punishment upon me?
'Tis but a gentle punishment, so take it.
And he clasps her and hides the charm on her in some fashion.
Why, sir, what mean you? Will you ravish me?
What, in the gallery? In the sun peeping? That's fitter time and place. There's fitter time and place. 'Tis in her bosom now.
Good, go. You're the rudest thing e'er came at court.
Well, I hope you'll tell me another tale ere you be 2 hours older. A rude thing? I'll make you eat your word. I'll make all split else.
And exit Alma.
Nay, now I think on't better. I'm to blame too. There's not a sweeter gentleman in court, nobly descended too, and dances well. Beshrew my heart, I'll take him when there's time. He will be catched up quickly. The Duchess says she's some employment for him, and has sworn me to use my best art in it. Life of my joys, there were good stuff. I will not trust her with him. I'll call him back again. He must not keep out of my sight so long. I shall grow mad then.
Enter Duchess.
He lives not now to see tomorrow spent, if this means take effect, as there's no hardness in it. Last night he played his horrid game again, came to my bedside at the full of midnight, and in his hand that fatal, fearful cup, waked me and forced me pledge him to my trembling and my dead father's scorn, that wounds my sight, that his remembrance should be raised in spite. But either his confusion or mine ends it. Oh, Amoretta, hast thou met him yet? Speak, wench, hast done that for me?
What, good madam?
Destruction of my hopes, dost ask that now? Didst thou not swear to me out of thy hate to Almachildes, thou'dst dissemble him, a loving entertainment and a meeting where I should work my will?
Good madam, pardon me. A loving entertainment I do protest myself to give him, with all speed I can too. But as I'm yet a maid, a perfect one, as the old time was wont to afford, when there were few tricks and little cunning stirring, I can dissemble none that will serve your turn. He must have been a right one, and a plain one.
Thou makest me doubt thy health. Speak, art thou well?
Oh, never better. If he would make haste and come back quickly, he stays now too long.
I'm quite lost in this woman.
But at some point around now, the magic ribbon has fallen from off Amoretta's person.
What's that fell out of her bosom now? Some love token?
Nay, I'll say that for him. He's the uncivilest gentleman, and every way desertless.
Who's that now she discommends so fast?
I could not love him, madam, of any man in court.
What's he now, prithee?
Who should it be but Almachildes, madam? I never hated man so deeply yet.
As Almachildes?
I am sick, good madam, when I but hear him named.
How is this possible? But now thou saidst thou lovest him, and didst raise him above all the court in praises.
How great people may speak their pleasure, madam, but surely I should think the worse of my tongue while I lived then.
No longer have I patience to forbear thee, that thou that retainest an envious soul to goodness. He is a gentleman, deserves as much as ever fortune yet bestowed on man, the glory and prime lustre of our court. Nor can there any but ourselves be worthy of him, and take you notice of that now from me. Say you have warning on it. If you did love him, you must not now.
Let your grace never fear it.
Thy name is Amoretta, as ours is. It has made me love and trust thee.
And my faithfulness has appeared well in the proof still, has it not, madam?
But if it fail now, 'tis nothing.
Then it shall not. I know he will not be long from fluttering about this place, now he is had a sight of me, and I'll perform in all that I vowed, madam, faithfully.
Then am I blessed, both in revenge and love, and thou shalt taste the sweetness.
And exit the Duchess, named Amoretta, apparently. Enter Almachildes.
What your aims be, I list not to inquire. All I desire is to preserve a computent honesty, both for mine own and his use that shall have me, whose luck soe'er it be. Oh, he's returned already. I knew he would not fail.
It works by this time, or the devil's in't, I think. I'll never trust which else, nor sup with them this 12-month.
I must soothe him now, and 'tis great pain to do it against one's stomach.
Now, Amoretta.
Now, you're welcome, sir. If you'll come always thus.
Oh, am I so? Is the case altered since?
If you'll be ruled, and know your times, 'twere somewhat a great comfort. Lass, I could be as loving and as venturous as any woman. We're all flesh and blood, man. If you could play the game out modestly and not betray your hand. I must have care, sir. You know I have a marriage time to come, and that's for life. Your best folks will be merry, but look to the main chance. That's reputation. And then do what they list.
Wilt hear my oath? By the sweet health of youth, I will be careful and never prate on't, nor like a cunning snarer, make the clipped name the bird to call in others.
Well, yielding then to such conditions as my poor bashfulness shall require from you, I shall yield shortly after.
I'll consent to him. And may thy sweet humility be a pattern for all proud women living.
They're beholding to you.
And they exit. So, the game of this scene is magical charm, magical charm. Oh, you're acting in a strange way. Why are you acting in a strange way? Magical charm drops. Now I'm normal again. Now you must pretend to do the thing that you were honestly... Oh, it's very confusing. I do like the way the scene opens, basically, with someone trying to read the instructions. It's just, just going, okay, how does this work? And trying to translate what. I've had that with badly translated instruction manuals before for tech things. I'm just going, okay, I think this is what it's telling me this does. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of magical switcherooing going on here. We're getting a little bit more detail on the Duchess here, vowing revenge. One of the people for whom revenge is due is Almachildes. So that's part of presumably a wider Duke-based plot that we are not as of yet detailedly with. Thoughts from the room about Amoretta, or Almachildes? Rachael.
Did the Duchess pick up that charm, and then was she affected by it? Because I thought that what was happening towards the end or middle of that scene.
I don't think so. I think I don't think she seems to be affected.
I think she's interested in Almachildes, but that was true before she picked up the charm.
Well,
I think she's been trying to use Amoretta as bait to get to get Almachildes alone since before this scene. What I think's happening.
Yeah, there's definitely a plot going on. I don't think I thought I was part of a sort of the wider revenge plot that the Duchess has sort of in hand here. I don't think she's thinking nice things, but I could be wrong on that point. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've misunderstood it all. Other thoughts in the room while we ponder on these things? It's all about motivations. It's which with the first read on something where people are sort of lying to each other or lying to themselves is makes it quite tricky. I don't think in performance this is a trickiness. I think this is just more we need to know why people are doing things and we're not quite sure why they're doing them yet, and we'll know that by the end. Elizabeth, then Lynn.
I don't trust the Duchess at all. I think it's some.
Not at all.
I think it's something to do with maybe a class problem, because Isabella is so much beneath her. I feel like Isabella it's been Amoretta, sorry. Is Amoretta or is Isabella? It's Amoretta. Is beneath her. So she kind of she can have her way with her. I do think it was a bit dodgy when she said that they have the same name. I was like, I didn't believe her. I didn't believe that they did have the same name, but it was something that she used to kind of endear Amoretta to her. So I don't trust the Duchess at all.
Well, you see, there might be a plot reason why they have the same name, because then the point about whether she's affected by the charm might be part of the magic. So it depends on how the charm was commissioned. So that might be a thing. Who's next? Dan, then Sarah.
Just going to say, I think it's just because they have the same name, Amoretta, that it works. Like, it's name specific, this charm. I guess the audience should know that somehow.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant to go to Lynn. Lynn, then Sarah.
So before Amoretta loses the charm and the Duchess takes it up, the Duchess says, "Did you not swear to me out of thy hate to Almachildes that you would dissemble to him a loving entertainment and a meeting where I should work my will?" So she wants something from Almachildes before she picks up the charm. So whether that's she desires him or she wants to hire him to assassinate her husband, we don't know. Those seem to me the two possibilities. But she's got some kind of interest in him before the charm switches possession.
Yeah. Oh yes. No. That's the point, and that's the thing. Duchess is saying to Amoretta, "You hate him, so you'll work for I know this is going to be a terrible imposition on you, but could you just sort of get him on side?" And then suddenly she's going, "You love him? What? Hang on, I'm confused." Yeah. There's a lot in play. Sarah.
I think Rachael might be right, though, in terms of she picks up the charm and then changes her mind about him. Because, yeah, I got the impression, I didn't pick up that she was wanting him to murder the Duke. I didn't get that at all. But I got the impression that that the Duchess wanted something from him rather than was being in love with him. But then later on, when she says, "He is a gentleman, deserves as much as ever fortune yet bestowed on man, the glory and the prime lustre of our court, nor can there be any but ourself to be worthy of him," that's just to me that's more of a she's been dazzled, and that she has actually picked up the charm. So I don't think I don't think it's an either or thing. I think she probably did want something from him, but she has picked up the charm because that seems to be more of an authentic, like, oh my god, he's so amazing.
Everyone's getting a bit confused by everybody else's motivations in a magical way. That's I think that's the fun of the scene. I think it needs a little sound effect, doesn't it? It needs a little ding when they pick up the charm and anyway, Rachael, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, the long speech at the beginning with Al. I'm just gonna call him Al.
Alma.
Yeah, Alma. It's I don't know if in production or performance, somebody would want to rearrange that, because I think there's he's doing one of those extended Latin jokes that I don't know, might be extremely niche or confusing to an audience now for what he's playing with it.
It's about whether his translations are funny or not. It's not where it doesn't matter what the Latin actually means per se. It's the fact that he sort of semi-mistranslates it as he goes along. If those mistranslations are funny, then it's fine, because that's the gag. Is he's mistranslating the instruction manual, basically, which is a reasonable gag. It's just whether it lands or not. But yes, we are always suspect of Latin in plays for good reasons, because it's usually tedious. Most people don't understand it. Anyway, let us go to Act 2, Scene 3. Much shorter scene coming up now. Act 2, Scene 3. Enter Abberzanes and an old woman with a baby.
So, away with him. I love to get him, but not to keep him. Hey, dost thou know the house?
No matter the house, I know the porch.
Aye, there's 6 pence more for that. Wait, keep close.
And giving her money, and she exits.
My tailor told me he sent away a maidservant, well ballast of all sides, within these 9 days. His wife never dreamed on it. Gave the drab £10, and she never troubles him, a common fashion. He told me 'twas to rid away escape, and I have sent him this fault. I remember a friend of mine once served a prating tradesman just on this fashion to a hair in troth. 'Tis a good ease to a man. You can swell a maid up and rid her for £10. There's the purse back again. Whate'er becomes of your money or your maid, this comes of bragging now. It's well for the boy too. He'll get an excellent trade by it. And on Sundays, go like a gentleman that has pawned his rapier. He need not care what countryman his father was, nor what his mother was when he was gone. The boy would do well certain. Give him grace to have a quick hand and convey things cleanly. 'Twill be his own another day.
Enter Francisca.
Oh, well said. Art almost furnished. There's such a toil always to set a woman to horse. A mighty trouble. The letter came to your brother's hand, I know, on Thursday last by noon. You were expected there yesterday night.
It makes the better, sir.
Yeah, we must take heed. We ride through all the putters twixt this and that now, that your safeguard there may be most probably dabbled.
Alas, sir, I never marked till now. I hate myself how monstrous thin I look.
Oh, monstrous neither. A little sharp in the nose like a country woodcock.
Fie, fie, how pale I am. I shall betray myself. I would you'd box me well and handsomely to get me into colour.
Not I. Pardon me, that let a husband do when he has married you. A friend at court will never offer that. Yeah, come. How much spice and sugar have you left now at this poor 1 month's voyage?
Sure, not much, sir. I think some 1/4 pound of sugar and 1/2 ounce of spice.
There's no sweet charge, and there was £30. Good weight and true. Beside, what man stole when 'twas a weighing, and that was £3 more? I'll speak released. The Rhenish wine is all run out in Caudles too?
Do you ask that, sir? 'Tis of a week's departure. You see what 'tis now to get children, sir.
Enter a boy.
Your mares are ready both, sir.
We're up then. Youth, give my sister a straight wand. There's 2 pence.
I'll give her a fine whip, sir.
No! Though we have both deserved it.
Here's a new one.
Prithee, talk to us of no whips, good boy. My heart aches when I see them. That's away.
Yes, they away. So, a short scene where Abberzanes continues to be his charming self. Various backs and forths between Francisca goes on. Thoughts in the room about this little scene? It's a little scene. It's much shorter than any other we've had. We've got another short scene to go before the end of the session. Anything anyone wants to throw in at this time? Briony, are you waving or just your hands just moving?
I'm just a bit confused. Did she just ask him to beat her up? No.
I think so.
Oh.
I don't know if that was sarcastic or not, but yeah, if you hit me, that would redden my cheeks, make me look a little healthier. Yeah, it's super creepy. It's a super creepy moment, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that. That'll be your husband's job when you get married."
Yeah, I mean he's not a good chap here.
And was she also saying basically like, we ran out of wine a week ago? Honestly, if you're not pregnant, so you don't understand. All I do is drink. That was kind of the vibe I got from what she said. Did you ask that, sir? 'Tis of a week's departure. You see what 'tis now to get children, sir. She's not even had the child yet. She's already an alcoholic.
Yeah, I was very confused about what actually a lot with what was being said there, what it actually meant. I was very confused as to decoding all of that, because I wondered if I wondered actually literally if they were talking in code. I was very confused. Francis.
Yeah, I find it very hard to believe that Abberzanes is the father of Francisca's child. What does she, what did she see in this guy?
Well, Dan, any thoughts on that?
He gives money for drink. I think he's just, in that speech, I think he's just telling the audience what his morals are, essentially.
And she's
raison d'être is.
No.
So, Lynn, sorry, second.
And she's 16. She's a kid. You know, I mean, there's a conversation in a few scenes back. Are you 17 yet? I don't think you're 17 yet. No, not yet. So, and she talks about how, you know, he comes by water at night and brings all kinds of treats. So yeah, maybe she's just really, really quite sensual, and fond of food and drink and easily swayed by food and drink. But yet she's you know, she's not. I mean, she's a kid.
And also, let's point out the kid that has just literally been, you know, brought on at the beginning. That opening gambit. I love to get them, but not to keep them. And thereby, you know, and you know, how thin, you know, after she looks afterwards, and you know, the terrible things have sort of gone on, you know, going on here. It's nice chap. Eric, and then we'll move on to the final scene of the session.
Well, I mean, we've talked about how creepy this is, but I think what creeped me out was you can swell a maid up and rid her for £10. It's like, hey, yeah, I know it just kind of rang sort of weirdly.
Okay, well, let's go into the final scene of the session, Act 3, Scene 1. So, let's see where this goes. Just looking at the opening stage direction there, just checking if that's how much of that is inferred. Okay, enter the Duchess, leading Alma blindfold.
This you that was a maid, how are you born to deceive men? I had thought to have married you. I had been finely handled, had I not? I'll say that man is wise ever hereafter that tries his wife beforehand. 'Tis no marvel you should profess such bashfulness to blind one, as if you durst not look a man i' the face. Your modesty would blush so. Why do you not run and tell the Duchess now? Go, you should tell all. Let her know this too. Why, here's the plague now. 'Tis hard at first to win 'em. When they're gotten, there's no way to be rid on 'em. They stick to a man like bird lime. My oath's out. Will you release me? I'll release myself else.
Nay, sure I'll bring you to your sights again.
And she takes off his blindfold.
Say, thou must either die or kill the Duke. For one of them thou must do.
How, good madame?
Thou hast thy choice, and to that purpose, sir, I've given thee knowledge of what thou hast, and what thou must do to be worthy on it. You must not think to come by such a fortune without desert. That were unreasonable. He that's not born to honour must not look to have it come with ease to him. He must win it. Take but unto thine actions wit and courage. That's all we ask of thee. But if through weakness of a poor spirit thou deniest me this, think but how thou shalt die, as our work means for it. No murderer ever like thee, for I purpose to call this subtle, sinful snare of mine an act of force from thee. Thou art proud and useful. I shall be believed. Besides, thy wantonness is at this hour in question mongst our women, which will make ill for thee.
I had hard chance to light upon this pleasure that's so costly. 'Tis not content with what a man can do and give him breath, but seeks to have that too.
Well, take thy choice.
I see no choice in't, madame, for 'tis all death, methinks.
Thou ist an ill sight then of a young man. 'Tis death if thou refuse it, and say my zeal has warned thee. But consenting 'twill be a new life, great honour and my love, which in perpetual bands I'll fasten to thee.
How, madame?
I'll do it religiously, make thee my husband. May I lose all sense of pleasure in life else, and be more miserable than ever creature was, for nothing lives but has a joy in somewhat.
Then by all the hopeful fortunes of a young man's rising, I will perform it, madame.
Mwah. There's a pledge then of a Duchess' love for thee, and now trust me for thy most happy safety. I will choose that time shall never hurt thee. When a man shows resolution, and there's worth in him, I'll have a care of him. Part now for this time, but still be near about us till thou canst be nearer. That's ourself.
And that I'll venture hard for.
God good speed to thee.
And exit. Okay, this is an interesting question of consent. So Alma is blindfolded. He doesn't know who he thinks he's just had sex with the other Amoretta, but this Amoretta is charmed. So the neither of them can. So that's a really interesting switcheroo. So yeah, so she's basically now offering him to murder my husband. That'd be nice, and then I'll marry you. Not messed up at all. It's not, these are charming folk. Charming folk. I mean, to be fair, the Duke's not a great guy. Not a great guy. The whole skull drinking of your dad thing at the top of the play. But yeah. This is one royal court, isn't it? It's doing all sorts of things. Elizabeth.
I blame the Duke a bit for this because he was coming into her bedroom at night at the stroke of midnight with the skull and like drinking from it and making her make all these promises and things to him. I think he took it a bit too far.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable. I mean, just the skull, full stop. I mean, you know, it's just bad. It's just bad. At the moment, I'm sort of thinking Hecate seems like the normal one. Really, you know, it seems like it's everyone in the household seems to vaguely like each other. I mean, they're a very loving family, and whereas here, everybody's sort of, they're all moving in different directions. We are effectively now into final thoughts, into extra time. So I'm going to go around the room and sort of collect your general shape of the show. We're about halfway through the play. What a world that is being painted here. What a wonderful world. I mean, you know, people are doing terrible things, but they're usually terrible people, or they're deeply compromised people in many ways. And no idea how it's all going to end. I mean, does anyone know where this is going? Does anyone really know? Thoughts, hopes, predictions from the room, and just general first impressions so far. I'll go to Sarah first. Any final thoughts there, Sarah?
Well, I don't like anybody. I mean, some of them are like more horrible than others, but even the ones that I think is like that I assume are supposed to be the heroes, heroines, I don't really like any of them, to be honest. Like, whatever. I mean, I feel sorry for Francesca, is it? Francisca. But I don't particularly. I mean, just the fact that she would sleep with him in the first place, I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, I'm not particularly warming to any of the characters, and yet I'm still quite intrigued by the play, which is, a testament to the play, really, because I do kind of want to know what happens. And normally, if I'm halfway through a play and I don't like any of the characters, I'm just like, oh, really? I don't care. I really don't care. Whereas this, it's not that I kind of care, but I'm just intrigued. And I put in the comments a minute ago that, like, this play is creepy in all kinds of different ways. And it's like, yeah, it's almost like an exercise in how much can I gross out my audience? Like, I'll try this way, and I'll also do it that way, and I'll also do it this way, and I'll also do it this way. So, like, I don't know, if he doesn't get you one way, he gets you another, and I'm finding that quite interesting to read. I'm feeling like this could go the opposite way to the way it normally goes. Normally, I kind of usually really enjoy a play for like the first 3/4, 4/5, and then it all falls apart at the last minute because the ending, I'm just like, what happened there? I'm wondering if it's going to go the other way with this. I'm just going to be like, what the hell is going on with this play all the way through it? And then by the end, I'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, that was pretty good. Who knows?
Francis, any final thoughts?
I'm on the same page as Sarah. I mean, there's not a sympathetic character in this play.
Really, I think that what about
Yes.
I'm trying hard. Sorry, carry on.
Cat with the fiddle. He's okay.
Yeah. Loving cat.
Yeah, and he does. The author is trying to grow. He's trying to gross us out every which way. But like Sarah, I'm quite intrigued by it. It holds your attention, and but it's a very convoluted plot. That's the thing, and where it's going to go. The only thing I think I can say with any degree of certainty is that Hecate's going to meet a bad end, but that's only because she's a witch and she cooks unbaptized babies.
Well, sometimes you just have to follow the recipe. I mean, that's what it says in the book. What are you going to do? Elizabeth, any final thoughts?
I'm enjoying the play, actually. I think that it hasn't had a droll moment. It hasn't had like a dry moment in it so far. The characters aren't likable, but that's not necessarily for me necessary to make it a gripping play. I found the witch quite compelling, and I'm excited to find out what happens to many of the characters, especially Hecate, because I thought she was a riot. And I'm enjoying the play immensely.
Yeah, liking people is overrated. Who cares? As long as there's action and excitement and really weird things. Briony, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with some of what's been said, but that's kind of what I love about it. I love the buttons that this is pushing. I really like trying to work out where the tone is, because that's kind of the story of my life anyway. I laugh at things that I shouldn't laugh at, and yeah, there's lots in this. And I love to hate as well. I love when the characters are just rubbish, because they're almost kind of expendable. So whatever happens at the end is fine. So I'm quite excited to find out what is going to be made of everybody in this. And it's very Halloweeny too, which is nice.
Yeah, there's a reason why we've scheduled it now, so that it's in time for Halloween to be released. Because we're busy that week. Lynn, any final thoughts?
Yes, pretty much same feelings that other people have expressed. I don't like anybody. Even Isabella has failed to gain my sympathy because I think she's so fake. But so one's problem in producing this, or one's challenge, is to signal to the audience how they're supposed to engage with it. That, okay, this is not real life. That we are not supposed to like anybody. You kind of hate them all. It's a kind of black farce. So that you've got that sort of creepy but sort of funny tone going. So establishing that's going to be something a production needs to do right away. It's just sort of built-in problem of witch plays, that the witch never has enough to do. The witch is sort of the instigator or the instrument everybody uses, but she hasn't had that much stage time. The scene she did have was pretty amazing, but she's only had the one scene so far. So I kind of hope we see a little bit more of the witch. And I do hope, like Sarah, that it all comes together in like some kind of crazy, unexpected yet inevitable ending, so that it's satisfying. Because we're not going to be satisfied because the bad end happily and the good end happily and the bad unhappily. That's what fiction means. That's not going to be the kind of satisfaction that we get with this. So I am really curious how it's going to shake out.
Yes, as ever, we're heading towards that fundamental problem of the final session, the curse of the final session. Will the play end in a way that we like? Which is always my worry. It's the number of sessions we've started and everyone's, they're really enjoying this, and then no. Eric, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I there's a part of me going, I hate this so much. This is so dodgy, shady, and everything, bad. But then, I also really want to know what happens, and I just the witch scene, and the beginning of it was so epic, and I mean epic in a bad way. I don't know. Yeah, sort of, hey, let's dance with the bodies kind of thing. I don't know. It just I want to know what happens.
Excellent. Rachael, any final thoughts?
Most of what everybody else has already said. I think it's very fun, and I haven't been bored yet. The characters, I don't really mind them being horrible people this time, because it's been turned up all the way to 11. I just typed Florida's name in the chat. I was like, she wasn't so bad, but she's like a neutral character who's just you forget her. Not that you forget her, but she's only shown up for a couple seconds and then is eating some pie off stage somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw that in the stage directions. Dan, any final thoughts?
I'll share some today, and then I'll share some tomorrow, because I've got a lot of thoughts. The overall one is I think Tommy M has quite a wild imagination. Like Sarah, like most other people, I'm drawn in and I'm intrigued by this play. I think that it does a very good job of world building very, very fast. We're plunged right into the plot. We don't know who any of these people are, but we know exactly where we are. This is staged apparently at Blackfriars. There's a whole atmosphere to it. I don't like necessarily anybody either, but I do care about what's going to happen. I'm not thinking about anything else. I don't have to draw from other historical sources. I don't need to be in on any kind of jokes. It's all right there in front of me, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. It's different than anything else that I feel like we've read. I don't feel like we're sitting around, if you saw this one, then you'll like this one. It's no, it's its own thing. I enjoy that very much.
Any other, after all that rushing around, we're actually a little under time. Any additional thoughts anyone wants to throw in? I'm enjoying it enormously so far. But the moment you have a violin playing cat, you just you know where you are. You know where you are with the play. I wonder whether I don't know whether I really. It's not so much that I don't like anyone. I mean, apart from the obviously unlikable characters. The people who are obviously there to be hateful. I don't know that I don't like any of the others, the majority of the people in this. I mean, I don't know that I care about them, because a lot of them. I mean, I'm really interested in I'd like to dig down into Francisca's, especially the big speech she had, where a soliloquy, talking about where she's placed. And some of those relationships, I think it's one of those plays that once you actually get actors to dig into the scenes and give them some room, that there's a lot more that comes out of this as well. Lynn, did you want to jump in?
I'm glad that Daniel shared with us that this was probably performed, or as far as we know, performed at Blackfriars in the interior space. I like the idea of this being performed by candlelight rather than in broad daylight. It has that mood about it. And yeah, it really has its own thing. It doesn't really remind one much of oh, this is obviously this or that redone. It's its own animal.
Yeah, and of course it's got music as well. There's more music to come too, and music for which we actually have. We know what the music was, which isn't always what you get with plays. So there's a lot of question about some of those big scenes. Are there production numbers effectively going on here? And how big and how big did they go originally with that scene, with all the properties and bits and bobs that you would need for the magic-y recipe, Great British Bake Off gone wrong, kind of scene there. Other thoughts anyone want to throw in before I close this session?
It says something to me, and that this play was probably performed around what we say 1608 to 1616, but the only text existing of this was a presentation manuscript in 1624, and we've got songs, like settings, that exist after that. I'm curious about, I guess, the audience reception of this kind of thing, because that says to me that, well, people seem to have liked it, or at least wanted to record it.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, we're going to say farewell to The Witch until next time for the final session of this first look. All that remains is to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, and goodbye. The blood of a flittermouse.